The Big Ten Network recently named the Illinois student section the most loyal in the conference, so I went out to take a look at the student section that is known as the Spike Squad. I'm inside historic Huff Hall where the Fighting Illini volleyball team call home. Over the last 25 years, the Fighting Illini have won 75% of their home matches here in Huff Hall, and it's due in large part to one of the best student sections in the Big Ten and one in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to get a first-hand look at the Spike Squad. Since its construction in 1924, George Huff Hall has hosted events from men's basketball to wrestling to women's volleyball to gymnastics. Here now is Dave Lone with a special peek inside historic Huff Hall.
Fighting Illini fans have a lot to be optimistic about this season as their season begins under first-year head coach John Gross. I'm joined by senior guard DJ Richardson, who's coming off being named third team All-Big Ten by the coaches. You guys really started out shooting the ball really well, especially from three-point land.
Now with his powerful hitting and consistent fielding, Lindauer now finds himself on the Wallace Award watch list, an award that recognizes not just the best shortstop in the Big Ten, but in the country. I'm Max Tane. Coming up in sports, the Illini men's basketball team have a huge showdown in Chicago as they take on Minnesota in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. UI7 News starts right now. Here is a closer look at the senior class of 2012.
Lindauer gets this one up into that jet stream into left field. That's going to go back to the wall, and that is gone. Wow!
This was Thomas Lindauer's 8th home run of the season. Despite not adding to his total this past weekend, the junior shortstop is still second in the Big Ten when it comes to touching them all. But where did all this power come from? The Moline, Illinois native hadn't hit a home run in his first 2 years at Illinois. Lindauer explains his recent power surge.
Last year teams would pitch me in and I wouldn't get to those pitches, and then the off-season, it's one of those things I worked on in the cage and batting practice, and now it's kind of just carried over this year and it's worked out whenever somebody tries to throw in.
Lindauer found his swing and reclaimed the all-important leadoff spot for Illinois. But Lindauer isn't just an offensive-minded ball player. He's been a defensive standout on the team since he arrived as a freshman, where he was named to the all-freshman team in the Big Ten.
Now with his powerful hitting and consistent fielding, Lindauer now finds himself on the Wallace Award watch list, an award that recognizes not just the best shortstop in the Big Ten, but in the country.
That's a real short list, especially with as many Division I teams there are. There's over 200, and to put me on a list of 25 is something really cool to me. And I know some of the players on there are about as good as you can find in the country, and just to be considered there is pretty awesome.
His play and his presence in the clubhouse resonate with many of his teammates.
He always tweets about stuff, always tweets about his emotions, and likes to tweet about his girlfriend a lot. And he actually might have said that he was going to get dumped if he didn't put up 10 home runs this year. So, I mean, he's on pace right now, but we'll see.
With outfielder Justin Parr's school record hitting streak ongoing and senior ace Kevin Johnson breaking the Illinois record for innings pitched, Lindauer's performance may go a bit unnoticed, but it certainly won't stop him from helping the Illini jockey for position in the upcoming Big Ten tournament. In Urbana, I'm Max Tane, UI7 News.
The Illinois men's tennis program has had its fair share of international players take the court at the Atkins Tennis Center. But none may be more unique than Bruno Abdelnour. The 5'10 senior has been key to the Illini's success over the last few years, including sending them to the Sweet 16 last season. He also garnered the highest GPA of any male Illini athlete after his junior year. But before his tennis career began to flourish at Illinois, it started in his native country of Syria, a region amidst violent uprisings and political protests. His hometown of Aleppo was captured by the Free Syria Army in July of 2012. Abdelnour says that reading and seeing the news can take an emotional toll.
Once I saw the images come to my city and to it hit my tennis courts where I grew up, and that was very emotional. I just saw just the tennis courts were all destroyed.
Now most of Abdelnour's family has fled from Syria, but every time he takes the court, he brings the weight of his family and his entire country.
For me, it makes me play better, just battle harder, and I've played one match in Davis Cup for Syria, and I played probably the best tennis I've ever played.
Abdelnour keeps his family and friends close to him despite being so far away. It's one of the qualities that has Bruno's personality resonating in the tennis community.
We want to buy stock in Bruno. I mean, it's the kind of guy that anybody that knows him, anybody that's been part of our program, this is just he's a winner's winner. He's everything about him. It doesn't matter what he chooses to do in his life. He's going to be incredibly successful. He has more fans and opposing coaches than anyone I've ever coached before.
Reporting from the Atkins Tennis Center in Urbana, I'm Max Tane, UI7 News.
And I was like, man, I got another pair of them, and
And 23 years later, that Spike Lee saying remains the same. It is the shoes, and Rhonda Rice has been collecting Air Jordans for over 10 years, and these are only the shoes that fit in her bedroom. Since their release in 1985, Air Jordans have been a top priority for sneaker collectors. Rice says it's all about one word: exclusivity.
when people see the shoes on your feet, they be like, where you get those from? Can you still get those? No, you can't get those. So you feel like honored just to be wearing his shoes.
Even with all the new technology shoe companies are integrating in their new sneakers for performance, the tradition and style of Air Jordans are why several professional and college players opt for the kicks worn by Jordan himself. Rice says there is quite the special social bond between the people that can't get enough of Air Jordans.
Jordan brings a lot of people together, different race, different cultures, different everything. But at the same time, they also have to give that demand. The demand is high for Jordans.
These Bread 11s right here were released in December last year, only lasted on Nike.com for 30 minutes, and made websites like Foot Locker and Finish Line crash.
Air Jordans at retail price are hard to get their hands on. There have even been stories of people being robbed, shot, and killed just for their sneakers.
Sarah McGee is the assistant manager at Prime Sole and talks about how a Jordan release day is unlike any other.
There's a line around the block. There's no room to even park in the parking lot. Everybody is like, just buzzing around, and it's just very exciting.
As for Rice, she's lost track of how many sneakers are in her collection. However, she does donate shoes in her collection to the Champaign School District regularly. Said Rice, "If I can be blessed with it, I can give it back."
In Champaign, I'm Max Tane, UI7 News.
Last season of Illini football needs no reminder. A 2-10 finish in the first year of the Tim Beckman era has the coach under fire as he enters his second year. The Illini culminated spring practice under the Friday night lights with the annual Orange and Blue spring game. A lot was on the line at Memorial Stadium. That's a pretty nice piece of hardware there for the two teams competing. Coach Beckman said the coaching staffs were going to be competing for Jimmy John, so there's your incentive there for the coaching staff. And, well, here's the blue team getting off to a freaky fast start. Nathan Shieldhouse delivers the ball to Ryan Langford from 8 yards out. The blue team goes up 14-0 in the first quarter. Nice back shoulder catch from the junior. It would not get much better for the orange team. Riley O'Toole drops back one of his 3 interceptions. This one to Taylor Barton, his second of the night. He's going to take it all the way to the house for a pick six, but not after this. Get off me, son. Shoves O'Toole out of the way. Pick six for Barton. Blue team goes up 28-0. Second half, orange team would come back. O'Toole drops back. He's going to find walk-on tight end Tim Cleary, and, well, he had what Taylor Barton ate for breakfast. Shoves the defender out of the way. Finds pay dirt. Orange cuts the lead to 28-14, but in the end, too much blue. Donovan Young from 5 yards out. Forever young, forever young. I want to be forever young. His third touchdown of the game, and the blue team goes on to win by a final score of 35-28. It's time to snap back to reality from spring break here in Champaign, but unfortunately our technology did not snap back with us as the snowstorm that hit on Sunday damaged our satellites. But that's okay at UI7. We don't quit. We always put our mind to it. So if you take a look right behind me, this is a rendering of the United States courtesy of my director, Drew Lennox. Unfortunately not an art major in college, but then again, nobody is perfect. And look, we got some Big Ten logos here up in the country. Unfortunately, the tournament is over for U of I, so they're back in Champaign. But Michigan State's down in Indianapolis. Indiana's all the way out in the nation's capital. Michigan is down south in Jerry World in Arlington. And hey, over those carrots right there, you have Ohio State and LA enjoying the beautiful California sunshine. A raise of $200,000, and Gross's contract will now be extended to the 2017-2018 season so he can continue to build the Illinois program. Welcome back. With the tragedy that struck Boston yesterday, the results of the Boston Marathon are secondary to the greater effects of the day. There's only a few more days until 20,000 runners begin their dash through the streets of Champaign-Urbana. Illini's success on marathon courses continued this past weekend. Just 1 week after the Boston Marathon, several members of the Illinois wheelchair team were across the pond in London for the London Marathon. It was another Illini-dominated podium as Tatiana McFadden set a course record with a time of 1:46:02 to take first place. Amanda McGrory followed up her third-place finish in Boston with a second-place finish in London. She finished just 2 seconds behind McFadden. So in a 6-day span, Tatiana McFadden has captured consecutive marathon titles in Boston and London. Runners in London mourned the tragedy across the Atlantic by sharing a moment of silence before they began on Sunday. It was quite the special day for McFadden, who not only was celebrating her 24th birthday, but was dedicating the race to the people of Boston.